So, you want to build your own 48V LiFePO4 battery bank? It is one of the most rewarding DIY projects you can possibly take on. And let's be honest, it promises huge cost savings and gives you total control over your solar energy storage. That's the real key to energy independence, right?
I mean, the dream is awesome. You're harnessing the sun's power, storing it in a battery that you built with your own hands, and then you're powering your life with it. That is some real self-sufficiency. But, and this is a big but, handling this much power demands an equal, if not greater, amount of caution. And this is exactly where we need to pump the brakes and get serious. Because when you are dealing with this much stored energy, a small mistake doesn't just mean your project fails. It can be catastrophic. A lot of guides you see online will show you the fun parts, but they often just gloss over the critical details that can lead to a fire, or way worse. Look, you've probably seen tons of videos showing you how to snap cells together, but what they so often miss are the most important parts: why a specific wire gauge is totally non-negotiable for high current, or how to fuse each individual string of batteries to prevent a single failure from causing a catastrophic chain reaction. That's the exact gap we're here to fill. Okay, so before we even touch a single battery cell, we have got to cover the electrical foundations. I promise this isn't just boring theory. This is the knowledge that's going to keep your project safe and make sure it actually works the way it's supposed to. First up, connecting in series. The easiest way to think about this is like you're stacking blocks. You connect the positive terminal of one cell to the negative of the next one. Every cell you add in the chain bumps up the total voltage. So to hit our target of 48 volts, we're going to need to connect a certain number of cells together in what we call a series string. Next, we've got parallel connections. Now, this doesn't change the voltage. What it does is increase the capacity, which we measure in amp hours. This is your fuel tank. By connecting your finished series strings together in parallel, that's positive to positive, negative to negative, you're just making that fuel tank bigger, which means your battery can power your home for longer. And this right here, this is the single most important component of your entire build. The BMS, or Battery Management System, is the non-negotiable safety watchdog. It is the brain of the operation. It's constantly watching every single cell, making sure they charge and discharge evenly, and it will shut the whole system down in a heartbeat if it senses anything dangerous, like overvoltage or a short circuit. Do not, and I repeat, do not skip or cheap out on your BMS. All right, don't let the math scare you. These are the 3 super simple formulas you're going to need for planning. Your total voltage is just the voltage of one cell times how many cells you have in series. Your total capacity is the amp hours of one cell times how many parallel strings you have. And finally, the total energy in watt hours is just the voltage times the capacity. That's it. This is the blueprint for your build.
Okay, with the foundations covered, let's move on to the actual build. We're going to walk through this thing step by step, and you're going to see how safety is woven into every single move we make.
Steps 1 through 4 are all about careful, methodical setup. First, you plan your layout with those formulas we just talked about. Then, you physically lay out the cells, making sure you leave space between them for air to flow. Heat is the absolute enemy here. Next, you carefully build your series strings with heavy-duty bus bars, and you triple check that you're connecting positive to negative every single time. Finally, you connect those identical completed strings in parallel. Now for the most critical safety steps. So please pay close attention to step 5. You absolutely must install a correctly rated fuse on the positive wire of each and every parallel string before they all combine. This is what saves you. It isolates a problem in one string and prevents a total system failure. After that, you connect the BMS, meticulously following the manufacturer's diagram to the letter. And finally, you make your main connections using thick, properly sized wires that can handle all that current without melting. So we've built the bank, but let's just hammer home the rules that you can never, ever break. This is the most important part of this entire explainer. These are not suggestions. They are absolute requirements. Just let that sink in for a second. We're not talking about a car battery here. The amount of energy stored in one of these banks is absolutely immense and completely unforgiving. A direct short can literally vaporize metal and cause devastating fires. You have to respect the power that you are handling. So here it is, your final, non-negotiable checklist. Always use insulated tools and wear safety glasses. Fuse every single string. Use a wire gauge chart to pick the right wire for the amperage. Don't guess. Double-check that your BMS is rated correctly for your system's voltage and current. And finally, have the right kind of fire extinguisher, a Class ABC, within arm's reach before you even begin. No exceptions. So, can you build a powerful, reliable, and long-lasting DIY battery bank? 100% yes. The key is just balancing that excitement of the project with a deep, deep respect for the power you're working with. Careful planning, the right components, and a safety-first mindset are what separate a successful project from a total disaster.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. It's not just about making the lights turn on today. It's about knowing with 100% confidence that every connection is secure, every component is correctly rated, and every single safety measure is in place for years of safe, reliable, and efficient energy.